Hey everyone, welcome back to Animal Prime, your go-to destination for nature's wildest wonders and most astonishing creatures. Whether you're watching with your kids, enjoying a peaceful evening with your pets, or just someone who loves the thrill of the natural world, you're in for something unforgettable today. Because let's face it, when we think of birds, we usually imagine gentle chirps at sunrise, graceful wings gliding through clouds, maybe a parrot mimicking hello in the corner of a cozy living room. But not today. Today, we're venturing into the skies and the shadows to meet the 21 most dangerous birds in the world. These aren't your average songbirds. These are creatures that can stab, slash, crush, or poison. Some are silent hunters, others are walking tanks. All of them prove one thing: never judge a bird by its feathers. So here's a question to get you thinking. Which bird has claws longer than a grizzly bear? Which can kick through bone? Which one is actually toxic to touch? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might look at that friendly goose in the park a little differently. Let's take off with the first and perhaps the most infamous of them all: Cassowary, the living dinosaur. Imagine this. You're walking through a rainforest in northern Australia. The air is humid, the jungle thick with vines and mist. Suddenly you hear a low, drum-like thud, like a heartbeat echoing through the ground. You freeze. Then through the ferns it steps out, a cassowary, towering over 5 feet tall, weighing up to 160 pounds. This bird looks like something out of Jurassic Park. And that's not an exaggeration. Scientists often call cassowaries the closest living relatives to velociraptors, and for good reason. Its body is cloaked in black, hair-like feathers that drape like armor. Its head shines with iridescent blues and fiery reds, crowned by a bony helmet-like casque. But the real danger lies below, in its legs. 2 powerful limbs, each equipped with 3 dagger-like toes. The middle one? A claw that can reach 5 inches long, razor-sharp, curved like a raptor's talon. One kick from a cassowary can slice muscle, tendon, or even break bones. And they're not shy about using it. In fact, cassowaries have been known to kill humans, with documented fatal attacks. When threatened, they don't flee, they charge. At speeds of up to 30 miles per hour. Despite their prehistoric appearance and deadly capabilities, cassowaries play a vital role in rainforest ecosystems, dispersing seeds from over 100 plant species. But step too close to their chicks or corner one in the wild, you're not dealing with a bird anymore. You're facing a full-blown feathered berserker. Harpy eagle, the sky assassin. From the forest floor, we now look up high into the emerald canopy of Central and South America, where one of the most awe-inspiring predators of the sky keeps silent watch: the harpy eagle. With a wingspan of over 7 feet and weighing close to 20 pounds, this eagle doesn't just glide, it dominates the air. But what really sets it apart is its weaponry. Its talons are thicker than a grizzly bear's claws, up to 5 inches long. That's the size of a full-grown human finger. One crushing grip can exert more than 500 pounds of pressure, easily snapping bones. Harpy eagles don't swoop in flocks or make dramatic calls. They're ghosts in the trees, dead silent, deadly accurate. Their eyes can spot a monkey from 200 feet away, and when they strike, it's over in seconds. Sloths, monkeys, even iguanas, gone without a sound. Visually, they are absolutely mythical, crowned with a double crest of feathers that flare like a warrior's helmet, deep-set eyes that gleam with focus, and plumage that looks like brushed marble. Harpy eagles seem like they were carved by a god of war. Indigenous tribes in the Amazon once believed that harpy eagles were guardians of the forest, powerful spirits watching from above. Today they're endangered, not because of their skills, but because of deforestation and human expansion. They may be one of the most dangerous birds alive, but like many predators, they are also vulnerable. And if you're wondering, yes, a harpy eagle could pick up a small child. There are unconfirmed reports and plenty of urban legends. But one thing's for sure, you wouldn't want to be its prey. Ostrich, the desert berserker. Now we take a sharp turn into the sun-scorched savannas of Africa, where a different kind of danger charges across the horizon. The ostrich. At first glance, it's almost comical. A massive bird with fluffy feathers, a long neck, tiny head. But don't be fooled. The ostrich is the largest bird on Earth, and possibly the strongest pair of legs in the animal kingdom. Standing up to 9 feet tall and weighing over 300 pounds, ostriches are fast, really fast. They can sprint at 45 miles per hour, making them faster than a racehorse. But it's their kick that turns them from a runner into a warrior. With a single strike, an ostrich can disembowel a lion. Their feet have 2 toes with one massive claw used to slash and crush. While they usually avoid conflict, if cornered, especially near their nests, ostriches become brutal defenders. There are stories, some true, some stretched, of ostriches killing adult humans with one blow. Even zoos and farms use reinforced fencing to contain them, because if one decides it doesn't like you, you won't outrun it, and you definitely won't outfight it. Their body may say flightless, but their instincts scream fighter. And that's just the beginning. We've seen a bird with talons sharper than steel, one that could have inspired myths of jungle spirits, and another that charges like a linebacker with legs like jackhammers. But there are still 18 more birds on this list. Some beautiful, some terrifying, and a few that hide their danger behind cute little chirps. So stay with us, because the next one, it might be perched right outside your window. Now, we've already met some heavy hitters, a prehistoric jungle brawler, a ghostly sky assassin, and a long-legged sprinter who can kick like a wrecking ball. But danger doesn't always arrive loud, fast, or massive. Sometimes it glides silently overhead. Sometimes it drops from the sky like a curse. And sometimes it's no bigger than your morning coffee mug, but with instincts straight out of a horror film. Let's keep going. Lammergeier, the bone dropper. Imagine the icy wind whipping across the Himalayas or echoing through the canyons of the Alps. Far above, a shadow circles, wide-winged, patient, ancient. It's not hunting meat, it's hunting bones. Meet the Lammergeier, also known as the bearded vulture, one of the most mysterious and eerie birds alive. At first glance, it's stunning. Wingspan stretching up to 10 feet, plumage that glows orange or rust red, thanks to natural iron staining from the rocks it lives around, and a long feathered beard under its hooked beak. Some say it looks like a fallen angel, others like a medieval demon. But what truly sets this vulture apart? It eats bones, almost exclusively. While other scavengers tear into flesh, the Lammergeier goes for the skeleton. And if a bone is too big, no problem. It soars hundreds of feet into the air, then drops the bone onto the rocks below, again and again, until it shatters. Then it swoops down and swallows the shards whole. This unique behavior makes it the only known bird whose main diet is bone marrow. Its stomach acid is so powerful, it can digest bone fragments like they were popcorn. But here's where the danger creeps in. Historically, shepherds and villagers feared the Lammergeier. There were legends of it carrying off infants, mistaking them for baby goats. In Greek mythology, it's linked to the story of Aeschylus. The playwright supposedly killed when a Lammergeier dropped a tortoise on his bald head, mistaking it for a rock. Is it likely? Maybe not. But one thing's certain, this bird doesn't just live above the clouds, it rules them with an eerie calm. Barred owl, the silent hunter. From the rocky peaks of Eurasia, we now enter the misty woods of North America, where shadows shift among branches and every rustle could be the wind or something watching you. High above, with eyes like polished onyx and feathers that seem woven from fog, sits the barred owl. It looks peaceful, even wise, but don't be fooled. This bird is a master of stealth, a silent predator whose wings are specially adapted to suppress sound. When it flies, it doesn't make a single noise. No flutter, no whoosh, nothing. Imagine being a mouse or a squirrel, and suddenly, talons pierce through the dark. You never heard it coming. The barred owl's name comes from the horizontal stripes across its chest, giving it a ghostly, almost Victorian appearance. It's about 20 inches tall, but its wingspan reaches nearly 4 feet. That may not sound enormous until it's dive bombing your backyard. Yes, you heard that right. In the past decade, there's been an increase in reported attacks by barred owls on humans. Joggers, hikers, even people walking dogs at dusk. They've been known to silently swoop in and strike heads from behind, especially during nesting season. And if that's not creepy enough, there's a theory linking a barred owl to one of the most controversial true crime cases in the US, the staircase. Some forensic investigators believe that owl talon marks were found on the victim's scalp. It's still debated to this day. The danger with barred owls isn't their strength, it's their unpredictability, their quiet, and the fact that you won't see them coming until it's too late. Northern Shrike, the butcher bird. Next, we meet a bird that doesn't rely on brute force or size. In fact, it looks downright adorable. Barely 9 inches long, soft gray feathers, a neat little beak, and wide, innocent eyes. But behind that innocent face hides a killer instinct that would make a hawk flinch. This is the northern shrike, also known as the butcher bird. Why the name? Because when this little hunter kills, it puts its prey on display, literally. Shrikes have a peculiar habit. They impale their victims, insects, small birds, rodents, even frogs, on thorns, barbed wire, or sharp twigs. It's not just for storage. Scientists believe it helps them tear flesh more easily since their tiny talons aren't built for dismembering prey. Imagine walking through a winter field and seeing a grasshopper skewered on a rose bush or a mouse hanging from a hawthorn spike. That's not a scene from a Gothic novel. That's a shrike's lunchroom. Their beak is short but hooked and razor sharp, similar in shape to that of a raptor. They use it to deliver a precise, paralyzing bite to the neck or skull, instantly disabling prey, efficient, unflinching. Despite their size, shrikes are fearless. They've been observed attacking birds larger than themselves, defending territories with explosive aggression. So next time you see a tiny bird perched on a wire, scanning the fields with a steady gaze, remember, it might be planning a murder. We've gone from giant bone crushers in the sky to silent assassins of the forest to a songbird with a flair for the macabre. And if this tells us anything, it's that danger wears many feathers. But we're far from done. Up next, we'll meet a swan that can shatter a kayak and a vulture that bathes in blood on purpose. Stick with us, because the most beautiful birds may be the most brutal of all. By now, you've probably started to realize something. Birds, despite their beauty, their melodies, their grace and flight, are not to be underestimated. We've seen a bone-eater from the cliffs, an owl that strikes like a whisper, and a songbird with a habit of crucifying its prey. But now we enter stranger territory. These next birds may live among us, in city parks, suburban lakes, even coastal towns. You've probably seen them. Some of you may have even fed them. And yet, you might never look at them the same way again. Great horned owl, the night terror. Our journey brings us deep into the woods again, this time under a moonlit sky. The branches creak, the wind hisses through pine needles. Then, you hear it, a low, haunting hoot. You look up. 2 golden eyes stare back at you, unblinking, set in a broad, feathery face framed by what look like horns. This is the great horned owl, and it's no bedtime story. Nicknamed the Tiger of the Sky, this owl is a ruthless apex predator in the nocturnal world. It's massive for an owl, standing over 2 feet tall, with a wingspan stretching nearly 5 feet. Its legs are thick with feathers, ending in huge talons that can exert 300 pounds of pressure, the equivalent of a German shepherd's bite. Their hunting style? Dead silent. Thanks to fringed feathers that muffle wind resistance, great horned owls can fly without making a sound. They dive from trees and strike like a ghost with steel claws. What do they eat? Anything they can grab. Rabbits, snakes, raccoons, skunks, hawks, even other owls. Yes, they're cannibalistic predators. And if they set up territory near your backyard, they'll defend it fiercely. But perhaps the most unsettling part is their stare. Fixed, intense, like they're peering into your thoughts. You don't hear them coming. You only feel the impact, and by then, it's too late. Mute Swan, the elegant aggressor. Now take a moment. Picture a quiet lake at dawn, mist rising, a pair of swans glides across the still water, feathers pristine and white like snow, serene, timeless, beautiful, and yet dangerous. Meet the mute swan, a bird so graceful, so iconic, it's become a symbol of peace and love across centuries. But behind the beauty lies a rage most people don't expect. Mute swans are huge, weighing up to 30 pounds with wingspans that can exceed 7 feet. When they feel threatened, especially during nesting season, they transform into aggressive defenders with shocking power. Their attack method is surprisingly forceful, flapping their wings, rushing across the water, hissing like a snake. They target the head and upper body with violent pecks and wing slaps. And no, this isn't just a cute bird flapping around. There are documented cases of mute swans tipping over kayaks, knocking people off paddleboards, and in one tragic incident, a man in Illinois drowned after a swan attacked him as he entered its territory. Mute swans are fiercely territorial. If you're near their nest, they won't hesitate. And because they often live in public spaces, parks, ponds, golf courses, encounters are more common than you might think. Their elegance is deceiving, their temper real. They remind us that not all threats scream. Some hiss in silence. European herring gull, the urban menace. Let's shift now to a more familiar setting. A beach boardwalk, kids with fries, a couple sharing fish and chips, laughter, seagulls overhead, then suddenly, bam, your sandwich is gone. A wing slaps your cheek. You look up to see a gull soaring away with your lunch. Welcome to the world of the European herring gull. These birds may look like your average seaside scavengers, but don't be fooled. They are smart, bold, and increasingly aggressive. Gulls are large, much bigger than most people expect. The European herring gull can have a wingspan of over 5 feet and weigh around 3 pounds. But it's not the size that makes them dangerous, it's their brains. These birds strategize, they learn human routines, they target certain times of day, specific spots with high food traffic. Some even work in pairs. One distracts while the other snatches. But food theft isn't the worst of it. During nesting season, herring gulls become extremely territorial. They've been recorded dive-bombing pedestrians, slamming into their heads and pecking with surgical precision. Hospital reports across the UK have logged eye injuries, scalp wounds, and deep lacerations, all from gull attacks. They can recognize human faces too. Studies show they remember people who've previously bothered their nests and will attack again if they see them. Oh, and they don't just live by the sea anymore. Gulls now nest on rooftops in cities across Europe and the northeastern US, turning urban neighborhoods into aerial war zones. So next time a gull circles overhead while you're enjoying lunch outside, just know it might not be a coincidence. 3 more birds, each one very different, and yet all dangerous in their own startling ways. From the deadly silence of the great horned owl, to the deceptive grace of the mute swan, to the street-smart ferocity of the herring gull. What these creatures teach us is simple. Size doesn't matter. Reputation doesn't matter. What matters is instinct and what happens when we cross the line. And we're not done yet. Because coming up, there's a bird that crushes snakes for fun, one that bathes in real blood to intimidate its rivals, and one that's become the most feared flyer in all of Australia. Keep watching. The sky still holds many secrets. You've seen the hidden claws. You've felt the quiet fury of owls and the deceptive wrath of swans. But now we're entering a darker, stranger chapter, where danger wears a mask of the grotesque, where beauty no longer hides the threat, and where even a snake's last moment can come from the sky. Let's descend into the bizarre. Marabou stork, the graveyard bird. It stands alone, hunched like an old undertaker, watching, waiting. You don't hear it call. You barely notice it moving. But its presence? Chilling. Meet the Marabou stork, often called the Undertaker bird, and one glance will tell you why. Towering at up to 5 feet tall, with a wingspan reaching nearly 11 feet, the Marabou is one of the largest flying birds in the world. But it's not the size that haunts you, it's the face. Bald, scabbed, mottled in grays and pinks, and a beak like a butcher's cleaver. Its neck pouch dangles like a deflated balloon, swaying as it walks with slow, almost zombie-like steps. And here's the kicker. It eats death. Marabou storks are scavengers. They feed on carrion, dead animals, rotting flesh, even garbage. In parts of sub-Saharan Africa, they've become eerily common around landfills, slaughterhouses, and yes, even graveyards. But they don't just wait for a meal. When food is scarce, they fight for it. They'll steal from vultures, chase off hyenas, use their enormous bills to stab or bludgeon rival birds. And if cornered by humans, they strike. There have been reports of Marabou attacking tourists, zookeepers, and even airport workers near runways. With a beak powerful enough to snap bones and a 6-foot lunge range, these birds don't bluff. They go straight for the face. They may look like death walking, because in their world they are. Secretary bird, the snake slayer. Now let's head south, to the golden grasslands of Africa, where a very different kind of predator stalks the savanna. Tall, graceful, strange. It looks like a crane wearing eyeliner and a mohawk. But this is no fashion model. This is the secretary bird, and it's one of the most specialized killers in the bird kingdom. Standing nearly 4 feet tall, the secretary bird has long legs built like stilts and lashes out with lightning-fast kicks. Its target? Snakes, big ones, venomous ones, black mambas, cobras, puff adders. Few birds can take them on, but the secretary bird lives for it. With legs evolved to deliver bone-crushing stomps at 15 milliseconds per strike, this bird can kill a snake in a matter of seconds without ever letting it bite back. It dances through danger like a feathered martial artist, dodging, striking, then swallowing its prey whole. Its body is all elegance, white and gray feathers with black flight tips. But its face, sharp, focused, rimmed with red-orange skin that makes its glare look almost painted on. And don't let the name fool you. Secretary bird may come from its fancy quill-like feathers behind its head, but in the wild, it's not taking notes. It's writing death sentences. Red-tailed hawk, the American striker. Now, from the grasslands of Africa, we return to North America, to a predator many Americans have heard of before they've ever seen it. You know the sound, that piercing scream used in nearly every movie scene featuring an eagle, even when the actual bird on screen is something else. That sound? That's the red-tailed hawk. Majestic, stoic, and terrifying when it dives. The red-tailed hawk is among the most iconic birds of prey in the U.S. With a wingspan of up to 4.5 feet, a sharp amber eye, and that unmistakable brick-red tail, this raptor is a symbol of freedom and fury. It can spot a mouse from over 100 feet in the air, but it doesn't glide like an owl. No, it strikes, fast, furious, sometimes reaching over 120 miles per hour in a dive. Its talons are curved, sharp, and perfectly suited for pinning prey to the ground. Rabbits, squirrels, snakes. Even small dogs and cats have fallen victim to bold hawks hunting in suburban areas. And if you get too close to its nest, prepare for an aerial assault. Red-tailed hawks are famously territorial. There have been multiple reports, especially during spring, of joggers, hikers, and even cyclists being dive-bombed by hawks protecting their young. 1 second you're enjoying a trail run, the next you're bleeding from the scalp, wondering what just hit you. They're protected under U.S. law, which means you can't harm or remove them, even if one sets up shop near your home. So if they decide your backyard is their kingdom, you live under their rule now. 3 more birds. 3 more reasons to look twice before calling something just a bird. From the ghastly menace of the Marabou, to the swift, tactical fury of the secretary bird, to the sky-striking dominance of the red-tailed hawk, What unites them isn't just power, it's purpose. Each of them is built perfectly for what they do, whether that's hunting snakes, consuming decay, or launching from the sky like a missile. They don't act out of cruelty. They act out of design, nature's design, and we're not done yet. Next, we're flying toward a goose with a grudge, a bird that helped win a war, and one that dives at your head like a feathery missile every spring. You've met the silent assassins. Now get ready for the noisy ones. By now, we've danced with bone breakers, battled snake slayers, and witnessed aerial attacks from the most majestic predators on the planet. But let's be honest, most people don't go hiking in the Himalayas or trekking through African savannas every day. What about the birds you're more likely to encounter? The ones nesting near barns, crossing your path at the park, or, in some cases, chasing you down a sidewalk. Because some of the most unexpectedly dangerous birds don't live far away in the wild. They live right next door. Let's meet them. Swan Goose, the guard dog of the farm. It has the look of nobility, long curved neck, dignified posture, rich chestnut feathers. But beneath the beauty of the swan goose lies something else entirely: pure territorial aggression. This domesticated breed, popular across Asia and seen on farms worldwide, may not match the mute swan in grace, but what it lacks in elegance, it makes up for in attitude. Big attitude. Swan geese are large, with males reaching up to 14 pounds. They walk with a deliberate waddle, necks stretched tall, honking like they've got something to prove, because they do. These birds are natural sentries. Farmers don't just keep them for eggs or meat. They use them as alarm systems, and it works. Approach a gate, a shed, or even just their territory uninvited, and you're likely to be greeted not with curiosity, but a full-on wing-flapping, neck-lunging charge. And trust us, they don't bluff. They aim for shins and knees, and their pecks bruise. Children, delivery workers, and even mail carriers have been chased back to their vehicles by a goose with an agenda. And if it's protecting goslings or a mate, it gets personal. Don't let the feathers fool you. This isn't a farm animal. It's a feathered bouncer. Emu, the runner with rage. Next, we head to the open plains of Australia, where a towering figure stands, feathers coarse like wire, legs rippling with muscle. It doesn't fly, it runs. And if it runs at you, brace yourself. Meet the emu, the world's second largest bird after the ostrich. It can grow over 6 feet tall, weigh up to 130 pounds, and hit speeds of 30 miles per hour. But it's not just their size that's earned them a spot on this list. It's their battle record. That's right. In 1932, Australia waged a literal war against emus. The government deployed soldiers with machine guns to control rising emu populations that were destroying crops. The result? The emus won. Seriously. They outran vehicles, dodged bullets, scattered into organized groups, and made fools out of the military. And while they rarely attack humans unprovoked, if cornered or threatened, especially during breeding season, emus can become dangerously aggressive. They lunge, they kick forward with strong, clawed feet that can gouge skin, knock down adults, and fracture bones. Their legs are built like shock absorbers. Their eyes are wide and wild. And unlike their ostrich cousins, emus aren't afraid of confrontation. They've been known to charge fences, bust through barriers, and even kick dogs that get too close. So the next time someone tells you birds are soft, tell them about the bird that fought a war and didn't lose. Australian magpie, the spring bomber. If the emu is Australia's brute force menace, the Australian magpie is its aerial anarchist. And during the spring, it's not just birdsong in the air, it's terror. These birds look fairly harmless, about the size of a crow with a mix of black and white plumage and a warbling call that's actually quite beautiful. But in September, when nesting season begins, they transform. Their nickname? Swooping magpies. Why? Because they dive bomb anything they think is a threat, especially humans. Cyclists, joggers, mailmen, parents with strollers. No one is safe, and they don't just swoop near you, they aim for eyes, ears, and the back of the skull. They come in fast, sometimes over 40 mph, talons extended, shrieking mid-dive. People have suffered eye injuries, concussions, lacerations, and even been thrown off bikes. In some towns, warning signs are posted near active nests. Cyclists wear helmet spikes, zip ties, and even faces painted on the back of their heads to trick the birds into thinking they're being watched. Some magpies have been recorded attacking the same person daily, following them for blocks. These birds remember faces. It's so common that Australians now refer to the season simply as swooping season. And despite their aggression, magpies are protected under Australian law. You can't remove them or disturb their nests. So what can you do? Wear a hat, walk fast. Or better yet, don't look up. These three birds aren't mythic giants. They're not forest phantoms or jungle beasts. They're the birds living around us, on farms, near schools, in parks and playgrounds. But as we've learned, the closer they are, the more dangerous they become. From a farm goose with a chip on its shoulder, to a bird that defeated the military, to an urban dive bomber with a grudge, it's not about size, it's about territory, it's about instinct, and sometimes it's about sending a very clear message. Stay out of my nest. But we're still not finished, because coming up next are birds that drink blood, disguise death in color, and one that is actually poisonous to the touch. Trust us, you haven't seen dangerous yet. Until now, we've encountered fury and feathers. We've been dive-bombed, chased, kicked, and clawed. But danger, as you've seen, doesn't always scream from the shadows. Sometimes it waits, cold, still, and deceptively silent. Other times it wears a crown of gold, and occasionally it hisses like a serpent and lives right outside your office building. Let's keep flying. Snowy owl, the Arctic guardian. There's something undeniably magical about the snowy owl. With pristine white feathers dusted in silver and piercing yellow eyes, it looks like it flew straight out of a fantasy novel. In fact, it's so iconic, it became the poster bird of wizardry. Yes, Hedwig, but behind that majestic look is a predator with ice in its veins. Native to the Arctic tundra, the snowy owl is tougher than it looks. These birds survive temperatures that would make most creatures freeze mid-step. They can see in near darkness, hear rodents tunneling beneath snow, and strike with deadly precision. A full-grown snowy owl has a wingspan of nearly 5 feet, talons that dig deep, and enough force in its dive to snap a lemming's spine mid-run. But rodents aren't its only prey. These birds will go after ducks, rabbits, even other birds of prey, and defend their nests like warriors of the north. There have been documented attacks on sled dogs, and in more than one case, humans who accidentally wandered too close to their nesting grounds. One photographer described the feeling as being hit by a white missile out of nowhere. They are territorial, highly alert, and completely silent until it's too late. And as climate change shifts their patterns, sightings of snowy owls are becoming more common in southern regions, sometimes in urban areas, especially during colder months. So next time you're out enjoying a snowy walk and you think you see something watching from the roof, you just might be right. African crowned eagle, the leopard killer. Now imagine a bird so powerful, so shockingly dangerous, that it has reportedly taken down prey as large as leopards. Not full-grown adults, of course, but juveniles. Yes, leopards. Meet the African crowned eagle, the heaviest eagle in Africa and one of the most aggressive raptors on the planet. At first glance, it's almost regal. A bold black and white breast, deep amber eyes, and, as its name suggests, a dramatic feathered crest atop its head like a tribal crown. But make no mistake, this is a bird built for violence. Its talons are as thick as a lion cub's paws. With over 700 pounds of grip force, it's strong enough to crush the skull of a monkey, which is one of its favorite meals. It strikes from the canopy at speeds of 100 mph, locking onto the neck or head and ending the hunt in seconds. And here's the part that gives many pause. There are several credible reports of crowned eagles attacking children, mistaking them for prey. In some rural communities across sub-Saharan Africa, stories of children being lifted or mauled by these birds are taken very seriously. While rare, the possibility is not just urban legend, it's biology. A toddler from above looks a lot like a small antelope or monkey. To the eagle, it's just another meal. These birds are top predators, confident, tactical, and beautifully terrifying. In the bird world, if the harpy eagle is the sky's assassin, then the crowned eagle is its executioner. Canada goose, feathered fury. Now, from Arctic warriors and jungle kings, we come back down to the suburbs, to the walking meme, to the bird you probably laughed at until it charged you full speed in the middle of a golf course. Yes, we're talking about the Canada goose. You've seen them. You've definitely heard them. That sharp, honking cry that echoes across ponds, campuses, and parking lots like a warning siren. And if you've ever gotten too close, you know this. Canada geese don't play around. These birds are aggressively territorial, especially during nesting season. If they think you're threatening their mate, eggs, or turf, they'll stand their ground and then some. A Canada goose can weigh over 14 pounds with a wingspan of nearly 6 feet. Their wings are shockingly powerful, capable of delivering strikes strong enough to knock over a small adult. Combine that with their blunt beak jabs, charging speed, and absolute lack of fear, and you've got a bird that's more linebacker than waterfowl. They've attacked dogs, they've chased mailmen back into trucks. They've been the cause of bicycle crashes and concussions. And perhaps most infamously, they've even brought down airplanes. As in the Miracle on the Hudson, when a flock of Canada geese took out both engines of U.S. Airways Flight 1549. Let that sink in. This bird was partly responsible for one of the most dramatic emergency landings in aviation history. Not so funny anymore, huh? 3 wildly different birds. One thing in common, they don't care who you are. The snowy owl, cold and calculating in silence. The crowned eagle, lethal and unapologetically dominant. The Canada goose, angry, territorial, and dangerously underestimated. By now you've probably realized, not all threats come with warning colors. Not all danger screeches before it strikes. Some of it hisses, glares, and watches. And just when you think we've hit the peak, there's more. Because coming up next are birds that bathe in blood, kill while smiling, and one that's so poisonous, touching it could numb your skin. This isn't fantasy. This is nature, unfiltered. You've followed us through storms and skies, deserts and tundras, cities and savannas. We've met birds that stalk, that strike, that steal, and that scream. But we've saved the strangest, boldest, and most mind-blowing for last. Because of these next 3 birds, they're the ones that haunt legends, rewrite biology, and prove that even beauty can bite. Let's finish strong. Bearded vulture, the blood-bathed beauty. At first glance, it doesn't seem real. It glides through the sky like a mythical creature, wings spread nearly 10 feet wide, feathers stained with an eerie orange-red glow. Its head is framed by a thin black mask, its eyes fiery and cold. It's called the bearded vulture, or Lammergeier, and it's possibly the most metal bird alive. Yes, we already met the bone dropper earlier, but here's what we didn't tell you. It bathes in blood, on purpose. Unlike most vultures that feed in packs, the bearded vulture is a lone operator. But what makes it shocking isn't just that it eats bones. It's that it dyes its feathers blood red by rolling in iron-rich soil or animal remains. Why? Scientists believe it's a form of intimidation, a display of dominance, saying, "I've fed, I've killed, I'm not to be trifled with." And then there's the legend. For centuries, shepherds feared this bird, blaming it for carrying off babies, for breaking bones from the sky. And while modern science disputes many of those tales, it's easy to see how fear took root. This bird doesn't just live near death, it wears it. The bearded vulture is what happens when nature writes a Gothic poem, in flesh, feather, and blood. Southern giant petrel, the polar predator. Next we fly south, way south, to where the wind howls across Antarctic waters and the world turns blue and white. This is home to the southern giant petrel, a bird sometimes known as the stinker. Unfair nickname? Maybe, until you learn what it eats. These birds are opportunistic carnivores, feeding on anything from penguin chicks to seal afterbirth. And sometimes they don't wait for their prey to die. That's right. Giant petrels have been observed attacking and killing live birds, tearing into them while still breathing. They measure up to 39 inches long, with a wingspan of 6 to 7 feet, and fly with the grace of an albatross, but with a darker agenda. They're aggressive, scavenging in gangs, and fiercely territorial during feeding. Their bills are hooked and sharp, and their stomachs, built to process decay, fat, and blood. Oh, and they spit stomach oil. Yes, as a defense mechanism, they can eject a foul-smelling, corrosive substance from their gut that repels predators, and could ruin a camera lens, jacket, or predator's eyes in seconds. Beautiful? No. Brutal? Definitely. Dangerous? Without a doubt. Pitohui, the poison bird. And finally, the bird that breaks all the rules. Small, colorful, tropical. It sings sweetly in the rainforest canopy of Papua New Guinea, but touch it and your fingers go numb. This is the hooded Pitohui, one of the very few known poisonous birds on Earth. Its feathers and skin contain bacteriotoxin, the same potent neurotoxin found in poison dart frogs. The bird doesn't produce the toxin itself. It absorbs it from certain beetles it eats. But the result is the same. A predator tries to bite and instantly regrets it. Local tribes have long known the truth. Hunters avoid eating Pitohui, and some have used its feathers to poison arrows. Researchers first discovered the toxicity when handling one, and their lips, hands, and even faces began to burn and tingle. It's beautiful, with rust-orange chest, jet-black head, and intelligent eyes. But it's also a reminder. In nature, even the tiniest creature can carry lethal secrets. From blood-drenched scavengers to poison-feathered singers, we've seen a side of birds that most never imagine. They weren't just dangerous. They were complex, mysterious, and absolutely unforgettable. Some protect their young with blind fury. Some dive at 100 Pitohui with claws drawn. Some simply sit and wait, knowing that beauty is their best camouflage. Each one tells a story, not just of danger, but of adaptation, instinct, and survival. And in the end, maybe that's what's most astonishing of all. Not that birds can hurt us, but that they remind us we're part of something wilder, older, and far more intricate than we usually stop to realize. So now, it's your turn. Which bird surprised you the most? Have you ever had a run-in with one of these feathery forces of nature? Tell us your thoughts, stories, or favorites in the comments below. We read everyone, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the unexpected side of nature, don't forget to subscribe to Animal Prime. There are so many more incredible creatures, and even wilder truths, waiting just around the corner. Hit that bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Thanks for flying with Animal Prime, where the wild never whispers, it roars. We'll see you on the next flight.